Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Abby with Fitness is Medicine, and today I'm going to give you a full body workout you can do using a fit ball. So we're going to be on the ball, we're going to use the ball as a tool. Everything we do will involve this ball. So the only other piece of equipment we're going to use is a set of dumbbells. So if you don't have dumbbells, you can use, a couple water bottles, or you could sit and use a band, and I'll explain that as we go through this. So if you haven't warmed up yet, go ahead and pause this and do a good warm up, at least 5 minutes. Get your heart rate up, get your muscles warmed up and ready to exercise. And I'm going to go through these a couple times with you, and then when you're ready, you can pause it and do it one more time through. Pause it and rewind it and do it again. So let's get started. First, we're going to start with rows while you're doing a prone position on the ball. So meaning you're on your tummy on the ball like this, and your feet back here are stabilized. You can have them nice and wide for a good stable base. Having them together is a little bit harder, so you can figure out where you are in your challenge. And then we're going to have these dumbbells right down in front of us. So you want to make sure you're rolled far enough on the ball that your shoulders are forward and over the ground instead of back here, because that's going to make it really hard. So you want to be up here so that your tummy is on that ball. And what we're going to do is we're going to row one bar at a time. So pull up and pull up. So as you're doing this, make sure your shoulders stay down away from your ears. And you'll find you have to stabilize quite a bit when you pull one up and the other stays. So this is actually a really good core exercise as well, because that core has to help stabilize you from falling over when you pull up that one side. So drive that elbow towards the ceiling and squeeze that shoulder blade towards your spine. Make sure you breathe the whole time. You're going to have to brace being on the ball like this on your tummy. If it's too much, and if you find that you're having a really hard time with this and you can't breathe very well, you can also do this without the ball. So you can either do it leaning on a bench, or you can do it in a plank like this and row. So either way, if you don't have a ball, you could do it in a plank or on a bench, or if it's bothering your tummy too much to be on that ball, you can use that plank as an alternative. Okay, the next one we're going to do is some march kicks while seated on the ball. So this is a balance one, so you may want to do it next to a sturdy chair or a railing or something. So I want you to march, kick, march, kick. And I'm doing it a little bit slowly on purpose, because that is a little bit more challenging. So march up your knee, kick. And to make it even more challenging, you can extend that leg slowly instead of a fast kick. So hanging onto the ball is a good way to help with that balance. If you let go of that ball or the chair next to you or whatever you're using for balance, you will find that you're having to use a little more core to balance here. So I want you to sit up nice and tall, get your torso tall. Lift up that knee and extend. So your hip flexors and your quads are working here, and your core, in order to keep you stable on that ball. This is also a really good balance one, because when you pick up that foot, you only have one other stabilizing piece here. Like I said, putting your hands here makes it a little bit easier. And if that's still too challenging, you can put it, next to a wall or a sofa, or, something that's sturdy that you can hang on to. So we want to do about 10 on each leg. And I don't know how many I've done. So we'll call that 10. The next we're going to do bridges with your shoulders on the ball. So I'm going to light up my screen here, make sure that I'm all the way. So you're going to sit on the ball like you are and just walk out so that your shoulders and your head are resting comfortably on the ball. So you can just put your hands, on your legs, or you can put them on your tummy, wherever's comfortable. So I want you to come down, bridge up. Hold it for a good 5 seconds. Come down, bridge up, keeping those shoulders down away from your ears. If you can also just hold that bridge, but coming down and up gets that good contraction in your hamstrings and your glutes. So that's where you want to be feeling it. And also notice I have a 90-degree bend in my knees. So I don't want to be here. I want to be here so that I'm making a tabletop. I'm pushing my hips towards the ceiling. Come down, come on up. This is also a balance one, so if you're having a hard time balancing here, you can still do it you could do it next to a wall, or like I said, use a sturdy kitchen chair, something that will, help stabilize you. I don't want you falling off the ball. Let's do 2 more. All right, make sure you're breathing the whole time. Okay, then you can just walk back up. So you're seated on the ball. Okay, next we're gonna grab that ball and squeeze it. So this is a good chest and arm and shoulders workout. So I'm just gonna have you stand and hold it about chest height. So just hold it straight out in front of you and squeeze that ball. We're gonna hold it for about 5 seconds as you squeeze. And as you squeeze, I want you to squeeze with your fingers and your hands. So it's gonna take quite a lot of energy. Squeeze it as hard as you can. Try to keep everything in good alignment. Don't raise those shoulders to squeeze it. All right, 3, but give it a good squeeze. And relax. As you're squeezing it, this is also contracting your abs. Kind of everything on the front of your body should be contracting. Your shoulders and your pectorals and your arm muscles and your finger muscles. Everything is kind of squeezing that ball. Keep breathing. If you're not finding this is very hard, just squeeze it harder. Really, you can make this as easy or as hard as you want, but the harder you squeeze it and the more you use those fingers to squeeze it too. It's a good hand strengthener as well. It's good for that arthritis, getting some blood flow into those fingers. Okay, let's do 2 more. Squeeze. Relax. 1 more good squeeze. Make sure you're breathing, using those fingers. All right, good. Okay, next we're gonna do some ball squats. So we're gonna give your arms a break and take your ball over to a wall. And you don't need very much space. I don't have a lot of space right here, but you just need a little space so that you can put the ball right in the small of your back. And you're just gonna squat down. So you wanna keep your torso tall, shoulders down, and your feet should be a little bit further in front of you than you feel is necessary just to begin with. Because when you squat down, you wanna sit back like you're sitting in that chair and keeping those knees over those ankles. So you want a straight line, no caving towards each other, and sit those hips back. So keep that good posture, look forward towards the other wall, and just sit those hips back. You should be feeling that in your quads here, and as you stand up, squeeze those glutes. That will help take some of the pressure off your knees if you're having any knee pain with this. The other thing is, you don't have to go down to 90 degrees. You could just go down a little ways. So you're still gonna get that quad contraction here. Really sit those hips back. That helps aid your knees so that your knees aren't working so hard. Sit your hips back, squeeze those glutes as you come up. As always, kind of keep your abs nice and tight. Let's do 2 more. Okay, great. The last one we're gonna do is called I and T with your arms on the ball. So we're gonna lie on the ball on your tummy, sort of like we did for the first one with those rows. Again, if you feel this really hurts being on your tummy like this on the ball, or you can't breathe or it's uncomfortable, you can just do this lying flat on the floor as well. So just get a pillow or a rolled up towel or something for your forehead. So you can do this on the floor as well. But I'm gonna have you in a nice straight line, and I want you to keep your shoulders away from your ears and reach your arms straight overhead. This is an I, so you're making your whole body into an I. You wanna hold it for about 5 seconds, thumbs facing the ceiling, and then bring your arms out into a T. Keep breathing. You wanna brace those abs, so kind of like if someone was gonna sucker punch you in the gut, how you would brace. Think about bracing your abs like that. I, and T. Again, the closer you have your feet together on the floor, the harder this is because you have to balance. But you can use your feet a little further apart too to give you a couple more balance points. So you can play with that and see where you are. I, T. That's 3. We're going to do this 5 times. I, T. Really pull those shoulders away from your ears. One more time. Turn yourself into as straight an I as you can. And T. All right, great job. Okay, let's do those through again. So give yourself a break. Like I said, if this one hurts your tummy and you feel like you can't breathe very well, then do it in a plank or do it on a bench. But I'm going to show you how to do it with a ball here. So we're going to do those rows again. I'm going to refresh my screen so I can see, make sure I'm on the screen here. Okay, so remember, feet close together is a little bit harder. Feet spread apart is a little bit easier, so it gives you more points of balance. So you're going to grab those weights, and you're going to lift one up, and then the other. So your goal is to keep your back as flat as possible, your shoulders away from your ears, and drive those elbows towards the ceiling. We're going to do 10 on each side, so that's 5, 6. Keep those shoulders away from your ears. 8. Drive that shoulder blade towards the middle. 9, 10, and 10. Okay, great. Now, we're going to sit back on the ball. I'm going to roll my weights out of the way. Sit down on the ball. Remember, we're going to do those slow march kicks. So, march up, kick. March up, kick. Keeping the torso nice and tall. It's easy to kind of crouch to kick. So we want to keep good posture, shoulder blades back, chest high. Using those good quads and hip flexors here. If you find this is really difficult, you can kind of speed it up just a little bit. That's okay. And then work on getting slower as you practice it. And if extending really bothers your hip or your knee or something, then just do slow marches. Because then you're still getting the balance. You're still getting a little bit of abs, working those hip flexors. So if this is too much for you, you can modify it a little bit to still get the challenge and the exercise and the balance without the extra added here with the kick. So slow kicks, if you're able to. Remember, hang on to that ball if you need to for support, or hang on to something sturdy next to you if you're really, uneasy here. Let's do 2 more. And then we're going to roll out into those bridges, remember. So stay seated on the ball after this one. Okay. Roll out. I'm going to scoot back just a little more. Roll back. Shoulders are right. your shoulders and head should be pretty comfortable on the ball here, so that you're not, you know, way back here. You're really just, your shoulders and head are just perfectly on top of the ball, so they're pretty comfortable. Hips straight towards the ceiling, come down, straight up, and push those hips towards the ceiling. Come down, straight up. Remember, you want about a 90-degree bend in those knees. Push up. You're really contracting those glutes and those hamstrings here. They're really keeping you stable. Again, I have my feet pretty far apart right here, but you could put your feet a little closer together, and that's going to make this a little bit harder, especially just for balance-wise. But you can play with it and see where you are, how you're feeling. When you come up into that bridge, you just have a narrower base of support in order to keep you stable, so you can, you know, play with it and see how it feels on your knees too. Let's do 3 more. Down, up. Keep breathing. Nice deep breaths all the way through this. In through your nose, out through your mouth. I lost track of how many we've done, so we'll do 1 more. All right, good. So let's see. We'll walk back up, seated on the ball. And then we're going to take that ball over to the wall and do some more ball squats. So just find an easy, you know, it's not hard to find just a small space, a small bit of wall. Oh wait, we're going to squeeze the ball first. Okay, pick up that ball and squeeze it. Remember, you're going to squeeze it with your fingers and you're going to squeeze it with your hands and your whole arm. Another thing we can do to make this a little bit more challenging is to stand in a tandem stance. So put one foot in front of the other. And release. That was 2. Squeeze with those fingers and those arms. Make sure you keep your shoulders down. It's easy to do this. I'm going to come back over here just a little bit, but I'm still doing that tandem stance. So do about 5 seconds and then relax. I'm not telling you each time I'm squeezing here. I'm going to switch my feet, using those fingers, squeezing with those arms. And you'll notice you're probably feeling it in your abdominal muscles too, because everything in front of you is squeezing that ball. I've got 3 more to go. Remember to keep breathing. Sometimes it's easy to take a deep breath in before you start and then slowly release a breathe out as you do the exercise. But just don't hold your breath. However you're doing it and your breathing is fine. 1 more good squeeze. Squeeze it with everything. Squeeze it with your fingers and your hands and your wrists. All right, good. Now we're going to do some ball squats. So find a little spot on the wall. Turn around. Just put it right above, just right in the small of your back. And then when you move your feet forward, it kind of goes up to the middle of your back a little. And then when you sit down, it doesn't move all that far, but it's just a good support. And the reason I like ball squats so much is similar to sit to stands. It gives you a good support and it helps you do squats in the really perfect position. So you see that my knees stay right over my ankles. I'm really focusing on keeping my knees straight, not letting them collapse towards each other. Sitting back like I'm just going to sit down in a chair and I've got the support of this ball. Sometimes people can't do squats or sit to stands very well without knee pain, and they're able to do this one. Like I said, you can do it in a smaller range of motion if you're having a lot of knee pain. Remember to sit back into that ball, and as you stand up, squeeze those glutes. Really get a good contraction as you stand to help support those knees. It should be, this is a multi-joint exercise. You know, my ankles are having to work, my knees, my hips. So we want to make sure everything is contributing and not just putting all the stress on the knees. You want to make those leg muscles strong so they can give you a good balance and a good base of support. Let's do 2 more. And nice and slow. All right, good. All right, so the last one, we're gonna do those I and T arms on your tummy on the ball. So, start right here. You can walk yourself out so that you are nice and flat on that ball. You want a good kind of straight position all the way from your heels to your shoulders. And then when you reach out with that I, you're trying to make yourself as straight as an arrow. Count to 5, out into that T. My thumbs are facing the ceiling. So this is a great posterior chain exercise. I'm working my shoulders and my back and all the way down. If you're really feeling this in your low back, try it on the ground. It might be a little bit less of a strain on your low back if you're having pain. Like I said, if you do it on the ground, you want to lie nice and flat, face down with your head on a rolled up towel or something so that you can keep your neck in line. You never want to be looking forward because this is putting a lot of strain on my neck. So you want to keep your neck looking straight down. You want to keep that whole spine right in line, reaching forward, reaching as far forward as you can. Back into that T. I think that's 4. We're going to do 5 today. If you want to, you can go ahead and do 10. I know this is a really challenging exercise, so I only wanted to take you to 5 today. But if you have been doing things like this and you feel comfortable and it's not hurting you in any way, go ahead and do 10. And back out into that T. Okay, slowly come back. All right. 6 things you can do on the ball. So you can also use that ball for stretching. You can sit and do your hamstring stretch. You can kind of roll and roll out your back. There's a lot of different things you can do with your ball to stretch as well. So shoot me any questions if you have any, and if you need any more modifications, or if I didn't do a good job at explaining what to do without a ball, just do most of them on the floor if you don't have a ball. So I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you, everybody.